Before you look at the sloth and think it is a lazy creature, before you chuckle at its slow-motion life, before you call it useless or a mistake of nature, you must stop. You must understand something much deeper, something wonderful and strange. The sloth is not slow because it lost the race of life. The sloth is slow because it won that race in a way almost no other animal has. It did not win by running faster, fighting harder, or being louder. It won by slowing down, by becoming so still, so patient, so perfectly matched to its world that it almost disappears into it. This is not a story about failure. This is a story about one of evolution's quietest, strangest, and most brilliant victories. It is a story written not in roars and sprints, but in silence and moss and the slow, steady beat of a heart that has learned to wait. Imagine a world high above the ground, a world of green shadows and damp air, where the light filters through a million leaves in soft, shifting patterns. This is the canopy of the rainforests in Central and South America. It is a busy, noisy, dangerous world. Monkeys shriek and leap through the air. Snakes coil on branches, colorful birds flash by, and powerful predators like the spotted jaguar and the huge harpy eagle move with deadly grace and speed. In this world, every creature seems to follow the same rules. Be quick, be strong, be alert, eat or be eaten. And then there is the sloth. It hangs upside down from a branch, a bundle of long, coarse fur, almost unmoving. For hours, for a whole day, it might not go anywhere. It seems to exist outside the rules. It is a puzzle. How can something so slow, so seemingly helpless, survive in a place that rewards speed? The answer is a secret, a beautiful, complex secret millions of years in the making. The sloth did not just survive by being slow. It mastered survival by reimagining what life could be. To understand the sloth of today, we must travel back in time millions of years. The ancestors of the sloth were nothing like the peaceful, tree-dwelling creatures we know. They were giants. They walked on the ground, not in the trees. Some were as big as elephants, taller than a human, weighing several tons. They had huge claws and massive bones. These giant ground sloths were powerful and impressive, but the world changed. The climate shifted, forests came and went, new predators emerged, and food became harder to find. One by one, these magnificent giants disappeared. They could not adapt to the new world. Only one line of these ancient animals survived. Not the biggest, not the strongest, but the ones who made a different choice. The ones who retreated into the trees, and most importantly, the ones who slowed down. This was not a retreat of cowardice, but a strategic retreat of incredible intelligence, written not in a brain, but in their very bones and blood over countless generations. They found a loophole in the rules of the jungle, a way to win by not playing the game at all. The modern sloth's entire life is built around one simple, brutal fact of nature. Its food is terrible. A sloth eats mostly leaves, and leaves from a nutritional point of view are a bad deal. They are very low in calories, which are the units of energy that fuel a body. They are low in easy-to-get nutrients, and they are incredibly tough to digest, full of a hard substance called cellulose. Most animals cannot survive on leaves alone. The animals that do, like cows or deer, have special adaptations. They have huge, multi-chambered stomachs and teams of helpful bacteria to break down the leaves. They must eat almost constantly, for many hours each day, just to get enough energy. The sloth could not compete in that way. It could not grow a giant stomach or spend all day eating. So it took a path no other mammal took to such an extreme. Instead of trying to get more energy from the leaves, it did something radical. It slowed its entire body down to match the tiny amount of energy the leaves provided. It built a life that runs on almost no power. A sloth's metabolism is one of the slowest of any mammal on Earth. Metabolism is the engine of the body, the process of turning food into energy. A hummingbird's metabolism is a roaring, high-speed engine. A sloth's is a tiny, quiet, slow-ticking clock. Its body temperature is not steady and warm like ours. It changes with the temperature of the air around it, going up and down. This saves a huge amount of energy, as keeping a constant warm temperature is very costly. Its muscles are weak for its size, about half the strength of a similar-sized animal. Its reactions are delayed. Its heartbeat is so slow you can barely count it. And most amazingly, its digestion is a journey that can take over a month for a single meal. The leaves move through its long, slow gut, being broken down little by special bacteria. This is not a flaw. This is the master plan, because moving fast burns energy, thinking fast burns energy, having a hot body burns energy. And energy is the one thing the sloth cannot afford to waste. Every single movement, every heartbeat, every thought is a precious expense. So the sloth spends its currency of life with the utmost care. Look at a sloth hanging from a tree branch. It looks comfortable, almost as if it is part of the tree itself. This is no accident. Evolution has designed the sloth's body to make hanging effortless. Its hands and feet are curved hooks with long, sharp claws. But the real magic is inside. Specialized tendons in their limbs act like automatic locks. When the sloth grabs a branch, these tendons snap into place. The sloth does not need to use any muscle power to hold on. The grip is mechanical. It is locked. This means a sloth can hang from a tree for days without spending a single bit of extra energy. It can eat in this position. It can sleep in this position. Astonishingly, it can even die in this position, its grip remaining closed. This is the foundation of its energy-saving life, a body built to rest. Now think about a predator. A jaguar moving through the forest, its eyes scanning for dinner. Its eyes and brain are tuned to notice movement. A quick dash, a sudden rustle, a fleeing shape. These things scream food. But what does not move or moves so slowly it is almost a part of the landscape becomes invisible. The sloth's incredible slowness is its primary cloak of invisibility. By barely moving, it fades into the background of leaves and branches. It becomes part of the scenery, not an animal in it. And then nature added another layer to the disguise. Over time, because the sloth moves so little and the rainforest air is so damp, algae began to grow in its fur. For most animals, this would be a problem, a sign of being dirty or sick. For the sloth, it became a stroke of evolutionary genius. The algae are green. They give the sloth's brownish fur a greenish tint. In the sun-dappled canopy, covered in moss and lichen, the sloth now looks exactly like a lump of moss, a knot on a branch, a bundle of leaves. It is one of the most perfect camouflage systems in the entire animal kingdom. But it didn't stop there. The fur became a home. Tiny insects like beetles and moths moved in. A special kind of moth, the sloth moth, lives almost its entire life on the sloth. The sloth does not scratch or clean them off. Why would it? This bustling community on its back is not a nuisance. It is part of the sloth's survival strategy. The algae feed the moths. The moths lay their eggs not on leaves but in the sloth's dung. When the moths die, their bodies decay and provide fertilizer for the algae. Some scientists even think the algae might provide extra nutrients that the sloth can absorb through its skin. So, the sloth is not just an animal. It is a habitat. It is a moving, breathing, living piece of the rainforest, and predators do not attack forests. They attack animals within them. This brings us to the most dangerous, puzzling, and beautiful moment in a sloth's life. Once a week, about every 5 to 7 days, the sloth does something that seems to break all its own rules. It slowly, painstakingly, climbs down from the safety of its high branch. It makes the long, slow journey all the way down the tree trunk to the forest floor. This trip can take hours. On the ground, the sloth is clumsy, weak, and utterly exposed. It is no longer a piece of the canopy. It is a slow, vulnerable creature on the ground where jaguars patrol, eagles watch, and snakes lie in wait. Here at the base of its tree, the sloth digs a small hole with its stubby tail, poops, covers the hole, and then begins the long, slow climb back up. For the longest time, scientists were baffled. Why? Why would an animal so perfectly adapted to safety in the trees risk almost certain death just to defecate on the ground? It could easily let its waste fall from the trees. The risk seemed insane. Then they uncovered the shocking truth. This risky journey is the heartbeat of the sloth's entire personal ecosystem. Remember the moths that live in its fur. When the sloth climbs down to poop, female moths fly off its body and lay their eggs in the fresh dung. The baby moths, larvae, hatch and grow up in this nutrient-rich nursery. When they become adult moths, they fly back up into the canopy to find a sloth to live on. They carry with them tiny bits of nutrients from the dung. These nutrients help fertilize the algae growing on the sloth's fur, making it grow better. Better algae means better camouflage. It might also mean more nutrients for the sloth. So the sloth risks its life not just for itself, but for the tiny world it carries. It is a ritual of balance, a weekly commitment to the community that keeps it alive. This is not stupidity. This is a deep, ancient partnership. People often think of sloths as defenseless. They do not scream or roar. They do not show teeth or charge. Their long, curved claws look fearsome, but they are not for attack. They are tools for hanging, for climbing, for anchoring. They are weapons of absolute last resort. If threatened, a sloth does not run. Running would use energy and would not work anyway. Instead, it does what it does best. It waits. It becomes still. It hopes its camouflage works. But if a predator actually attacks, if it bites or claws the sloth will strike back. And that slow movement hides a terrifying potential for strength and precision. Those hooked claws are razor sharp. There are rare but documented cases of sloths, when grabbed, striking out and inflicting serious, even fatal, wounds on jaguars. It is a reminder that stillness is not weakness. It is a choice, and when the choice to fight is made, it is decisive. But fighting is a last, desperate expense of energy. Most of the time, sloths avoid conflict entirely by simply not being seen. Even their love life follows this philosophy of patience. When a female sloth is ready to find a mate, she does not go looking. She simply waits in her tree and lets out a high-pitched, bird-like scream that echoes through the forest. Males in the area, moving at their own glacial pace, will slowly make their way toward the sound. This journey might take them days. When more than one male arrives, they do not have violent, bloody battles. They might show a little aggression, but mostly they hang near the female and wait. Eventually, she chooses. There is no rush. Everything in a sloth's world is governed by an endless, deep patience. A baby sloth is born right up in the trees. From its first moments, it clings to its mother's fur with a natural, instinctive grip. For months, it will ride on her stomach, learning the world from the safety of her body. It learns what leaves are good to eat not by being taught, but by nibbling the leaves from its mother's mouth. There is no school, no frantic lessons. There is only slow, steady, patient learning. The mother is not in a hurry. The baby is not in a hurry. They live in a different kind of time, and this is where the story becomes something we humans should think about very carefully. We live in a world obsessed with speed. Faster internet, faster cars, faster food, faster results. We burn enormous amounts of energy, both as individuals and as a species. We are constantly active, constantly thinking, constantly stressed. We often see the natural world as something to dominate, to control, to move faster than. And then we look at the sloth and we laugh. We call it lazy. We see its slowness as a failure to keep up. But consider this. Sloths have been on this planet for tens of millions of years. They have survived ice ages and global warming, the rise and fall of giant predators, and countless changes in their forest homes. They survived not by changing quickly, but by changing slowly, or in many ways by hardly changing at all. Their strategy was sustainability, not domination. Their slowness is extreme energy efficiency. Their stillness is perfect camouflage. Their apparent weakness leads them to be underestimated. Even their brains are different, smoother, with fewer folds than the brains of busy monkeys or humans. This does not mean they are stupid. It means their brain is perfectly suited for their life. They do not need to make complex, quick decisions. Their world is simple and predictable. Eat the leaves that you know are safe. Hang securely, sleep, digest. Their brain uses very little energy, which fits their perfect budget. In many ways, the sloth is a lesson in what happens when evolution chooses a different path. It is the path of minimalism, of efficiency, of becoming so perfectly in tune with your environment that you almost become part of it. It is a path of profound success. But this success story is now facing its greatest threat. The sloth's strategy only works in a specific world, the intact, towering, endless rainforest. Its enemy is not the jaguar or the eagle. Its enemy is the chainsaw, the bulldozer, the burning field. Deforestation is breaking the sloth's world into pieces. When trees are cut down, sloths are stranded. They are forced to crawl across the ground, where they are not invisible but painfully obvious. They try to cross roads where cars hit them. They touch power lines and are electrocuted. They encounter dogs and humans who can easily harm them. They cannot adapt quickly to this new, fast, broken world. Their strategy, perfected over millions of years, does not work in a landscape of fences and highways. The cruel irony is heartbreaking. An animal that mastered the art of long-term survival through slowness may disappear because the modern world no longer has room for anything slow. So the next time you see a picture or a video of a sloth hanging upside down, moving with a dreamlike slowness, seemingly doing nothing at all, remember what you are really seeing. You are not looking at a failure of nature, a joke, or a lazy creature. You are looking at one of evolution's most extreme and elegant masterpieces. You are looking at a creature that proved, in a world of noise and speed, that there is another way to win. You don't have to be the fastest, the strongest, or the loudest to survive. You don't have to fight every battle or burn all your energy in a flash. Sometimes the most powerful strategy is to be still, to be efficient, to be patient, to become part of the world around you so completely that you are overlooked. The sloth's lesson is about lasting. It is about endurance. It is about living in such perfect balance that you can outlast the storms of change. The sloth just hangs there, a quiet, furry testament to the incredible fact that in the great, wild experiment of life, there is more than one way to be a success. You just have to last. And the sloth, in its beautiful, slow, green way, has lasted for a very, very long time.